What's up, everybody? It's your boy KZ. I'm going to go ahead and get right into the UFC Noche picks. We're going to go ahead and break down every fight on the card starting from bottom, working our way up. And let's just go ahead and get started. Not wasting any time here. Messing around. All right, first things first. Let's go ahead and start with this Ultimate Fighter finale. Rodrigo Cezinando versus Daniil Donchenko. So the pick is going to be Daniil Donchenko. I feel like he's a pretty special striker. I feel like he can definitely make his way towards the top 15 potentially, just with what I've seen from him so far, just on the Ultimate Fighter with the striking. He has really nasty hands, good kicks, good knees, solid Muay Thai striker. And then Rodrigo Cezinando, decent striking, but he's more of a grappler. He can definitely hold his own on the feet, but it's just not to the level of Donchenko. If Rodrigo's going to want to win this fight, he's definitely going to have to get this down to the ground and just work the grappling, work the jiu-jitsu, make it a slow, boring fight for the most part. But I feel like Donchenko can keep it on the feet for long enough, potentially even get a finish here. I do like his striking a lot. He's very dangerous and potent as a striker. So we're going to go Donchenko. And then moving right along, we got this ladies fight, Alice Pereira, not to be confused with Aline Pereira, who is Alex Pereira's sister. I don't think there's no relation between her and Alex here with Alice. And then Montserrat Rendon. This one's rough, man, because it's like you got this 19-year-old girl come in and fight this 36-year-old, like fucking, I don't know if she has any kids, but she's a damn mom. But, it's like, can the youth beat the experience here? Like, is Elise going to be able to defend the takedowns? She's 5'10". She does have a big frame, but is she going to be able to defend the takedowns against Montserrat Rendon, who has, that grown woman strength? She's definitely going to be looking to get this fight to the ground. Alice Pereira is just going to be looking to stay on the feet. So this is a hard one to call, man, honestly, because it's like Alice Pereira is unproven and Montserrat Rendon is, somewhat proven. She has what's her UFC record? She's 1-1 in the UFC. She's very inactive. But it's just, she's had a lot more time to train than Alice Pereira. So it's a rough one to call. I'm going to say Alice Pereira is going to be able to keep it on the feet and win via striking, but it's not a confident call. You know what I mean? Like, or Rendon's just going to get her down and hold her down and win a decision. And, it's a hard one to pick just because, it's just you're picking between two ladies that aren't great. And if Alice Pereira is going to be great in the future, she hasn't proven it yet. So it's just the battle of the unknown here. Montserrat is definitely live to get the takedowns and win a decision, maybe even a ground and pound TKO if Alice just doesn't have it on the ground. But we're going to go ahead and go with Alice. We're going to go with the prospect, 19 years old. She's probably in the UFC for a reason here. But yeah, I'm going to go with her to defend the takedowns and win via striking. Don't be surprised if Rendon gets her down and just fucking grinds her out. Honestly, I want to pick that side, to be honest. But it's like, I just can't put my faith in Rendon. Even less so, a fucking 19-year-old girl. It's a rough pick. But moving on, we're going to go ahead and go to Alessandro Costa versus Alden Correa. Definitely feeling a lot better about this pick with Alessandro Costa than Alden Correa. Alden Correa coming in on short notice, making his UFC debut, fighting a young, hungry killer in Alessandro Costa, who's 2-2 in the UFC, but he's only lost to good competition in the UFC. He's lost to Steve Erceg and then Amir Albazi, two like top 5 guys. Albazi was like top 2 at one point. But yeah, no, I mean, it's just different levels here. I mean, Alessandro Costa, I think that he's going to get the finish here. I think that he's going to get the KO, just landing big shots in Alden Correa on the feet. From what I've seen in Correa, he's decent. He's got to get striking. He's relatively well-rounded, but it's not like anything special, and he's not fighting anybody that great. You know what I mean? He's on the regional scene. He's fighting in Fury FC. The last guy he fought was 4-7. Went to a no contest against some guy, Paris Moran, who was 12-2. I don't know, man. I just can't pick this debutante coming in who hasn't really had any high level fights And it's like, I'm doing that with Alice Pereira, but it's not like Montserrat has had any high-level fights herself. And, she's old, and it is what it is. But yeah, we're going Alessandro Costa. We're going Alessandro Costa by KO. Moving right along, we got Zachary Reese versus Sedriques Dumas. After this fight, Sedriques has to get to his court date. He has to go ahead and get those legal fees lined up. But I'm picking Zachary Reese, man. Dumas spends more time in jail than he does training MMA. So this motherfucker, I see Zach Reese being sharper wherever the fight goes. Dumas, who knows how seriously this dumbass is taking his career. So we're going to go Zachary Reese. I'm going to think that he's going to get it done maybe by decision, potentially TKO. But yeah, we're going Zachary Reese to get it done over the career criminal in Dumas, who knows how seriously this guy's been training. So we're going. I mean, Sedriques Dumas is decent. He's got good striking, got good grappling, but I feel like Zach Reese is just going to be the more committed athlete here, the more committed fighter. And I feel like he's going to be able to come in better shape, and he's just going to get this job done over Sedriques jail cell Dumas. So moving right along, we got Jesus Aguilar versus Luis Gurule. I'm pretty sure Luis Gurule is going to be able to get this done here. He's just the more physical specimen of the two. Jesus Aguilar is kind of small. And I don't know, man. I just feel like Aguilar's a good wrestler, but he's undersized. Gurule is more of a physical specimen. I feel like he should be able to piece Aguilar up on the feet, land good shots, land powerful shots. I think that he gets the KO here. Aguilar is good, but I think that Gurule is just a different level of fighter and athlete. And yeah. All right, I had to address something real quick, but yeah, we got a Gurule over Aguilar. I just feel like I said, he's the more physical athlete. He's the more physical specimen of the two, and I just think that he's going to be able to get it done, defend the takedowns, and then just win on the feet, either points or a KO here. And we got Amanda Lemos versus Tatiana Suarez. Man, if this fight, let me just say, if this fight stays on the feet, if Tatiana Suarez can't get the takedown, Amanda Lemos is definitely going to piece her up. But I don't see. We've seen it against Wei Li that Amanda Lemos just does not have great wrestling, does not have great takedown defense. And the only person Tatiana Suarez lost to was Wei Li. So it's like you can't say, oh, she lost to Wei Li, the greatest strawweight of all time. She fucking sucks. It's like, no, she just wasn't good enough to beat the best. That's it. She didn't fucking suck. And then Amanda Lemos looked equally awful against Zhang Wei Li. She's just getting taken down left and right, dominated on the ground. I think Zhang Wei Li landed a strike record on Amanda Lemos. She was just beating the fuck out of her the whole entire time. So I think that Tatiana Suarez is going to be able to get her down. I think she's going to be able to get her down, take her down at will. Amanda Lemos might have a couple of moments where she's able to stuff a takedown or two, look good, maybe land some shots on the break. And then Tatiana Suarez, I just see her being tenacious and chasing the takedown, and she's just going to eventually be able to get Amanda down. I think in each round, and just work the submissions, work the grinding ground and pound. I think that Tatiana Suarez is going to be able to out-wrestle her, and she's going to wrestle her to a decision or get either maybe a ground and pound stoppage or a submission, like an arm triangle from top, I'm pretty sure. I think Tatiana Suarez can get a submission like that. Either arm triangle from top, a guillotine as Amanda Lemos is trying to work her way back up to the feet, work her way to the back and get a rear naked choke, a rear naked strangle. But yeah, I think that Tatiana Suarez her grappling is going to be too much for Amanda Lemos, who is a good striker. And if this fight stays on the feet and she can't get her down, then Amanda Lemos is definitely live by KO, TKO, or just points. You just beat her up the whole time. But I think that Tatiana Suarez is going to be able to get her down to the ground with the takedowns. She's obviously a very solid wrestler. So I think that she's going to be able to impose her will with the grappling, and she's going to get it done here. And now Claudio Puelles versus Joaquim Silva. Man, when I first saw this fight, I'm just like, okay, I feel like Joaquim Silva is just going to knock him the fuck out. Claudio Puelles, he can't strike. He just is trying to get the fight to the ground. But it's just like, man, Joaquim Silva is kind of low volume. He allows himself to get pushed back, but that was kind of like against Drakkar Klose, who is a lot more dangerous on the feet than Claudio Puelles. So it's like this fight, I'm torn, man. It's either Claudio Puelles is going to push him back, get him to the cage, take him down, just control him, and work for a later round submission, or Joaquim Silva is going to be aggressive, trust in his striking, move forward, stuff the takedowns, and just beat the fuck out of Claudio Puelles. So it's just this one's rough for me because it's just like I feel like no matter which way I go, the other guy's going to win. I have it noted here. I have it in Joaquim Silva by physicality and KO Because if you see Joaquim Silva, you know that this guy's built like a brick shit house. But, you know, Claudio Puelles was having success taking down Ferreira. He had some good control time in that fight. Was kind of attacking submissions well, but not really. But man, this one is rough for me to call. He went to decision with Jordan Levitt, submitted Chris Grutzmacher, submitted Clay Guida. And Joaquim Silva, you know, he had that moment where he rocked Arman Tsarukyan, but then he got TKO'd in round 3 with ground and pound. He submitted Neil Magny in grappling, which I'd like to see. He beat Clay Guida by decision. It's just like, man, like both of these guys, it's like neither one of them is like a lights out, like, oh yeah, this guy is fucking elite in one area. I mean, Claudio Puelles does have really good jiu-jitsu, but it's like the lack of ability on the feet makes it predictable that what he's going to do. You know, he doesn't have the best takedowns. He was landing good takedowns on Ferreira, who is long and lanky. Fuck, man. I really am torn on this one. If I have to make a pick, my initial lean was Silva by KO. But it's just like, man, if Claudio Puelles can really like engage in the grappling early and survive, like, you know, the gas is going to come off of Silva's punches later on. I think if Silva's going to get him, it's going to be in either round 1 or 2. And then in round 3, it's just going to be probably Puelles just grinding him up against the cage, just trying to survive, trying to work for submissions. You know, I'm going to go Joaquim Silva by decision just because I feel like he's going to be able to land the bigger shots throughout the fight. I don't think that Claudio Puelles is going to get a submission, and I don't think that he's going to garner enough control time on the ground for him to get a decision win. So I feel like it's going to be Joaquim Silva landing good shots, you know, getting taken down, and then it's just going to be if he lands enough on the feet, I see him getting it on the judges' scorecards. But it's like, man, this one's fucking. I was going back and forth on this fight, Claudio Puelles versus Joaquim Silva. It's hard to be confident in either guy. Less so in Puelles, just because of how he looked against Dan Hooker when he was fighting like an absolute freaking pussy. But, you know. Yeah, I'm going to go Joaquim Silva KO points, but Claudio Puelles might just go ahead and stink it up and take him down, and Joaquim Silva might just be inactive on the feet with the striking, just worrying about the takedown and just, you know, not letting his hands go and then just getting worked against the cage, just, you know, held up against the cage, taken down, held against the ground. You know, Claudio Puelles might stink it up and get a boring win, but I'm going to go ahead and trust Joaquim Silva to let his hands go against the grappler and try to get this knockout, try to get this decision win. Moving along, we got Dusko Todorović versus Jose Medina. I'm going to take Medina to go ahead and, Dusko Todorović to get this done. You know, Dusko's better. He should be slick enough on the feet to win. You know, Jose Medina is just kind of like the Bolivian punching bag. Like this dude, he just usually just gets beaten up for 3 rounds, comes on late, you know, because he's tough and he has good cardio. He has a lot of heart. But it's like, he just doesn't have the skills, man. I think that Dusko Todorović is going to be able to land the better shots throughout the fight. If he needs to, take him down. If he gets, you know, a little bit rocked up on the feet, I don't see Medina just landing one big shot, putting him out, you know. So if like Todorović gets hurt, he can land the takedowns. He can go ahead and put Medina on his back and just work through it for the rest of the round. So yeah, I think Todorović can get it done here. I mean, Medina at underdog money would be nice. Maybe a round 3 KO just if Todorović gasses out. But I think that Todorović has decent enough skills to beat a guy like Medina who's just tough as fuck, and that's about it, you know. And then we got Santiago Luna, Border Boy, versus Quang Bang Lee. Border Boy is a fucking insane nickname for a Mexican dude. That's crazy. So Border Boy, he hasn't really fought anybody that great. He's fought outside of the UFC in a show called, well, he fought in Tough Enough. He fought in UWC, and he fought in Lights Out. So, but it's like the guys he's fighting are not anywhere near like Quang Le or the level of guys that Quang Le has been fighting. You know, he's just starting out his career. He's got a bunch of sub wins. He's got a bunch of TKOs, but he's fighting cans. He's fighting guys that aren't too great. I mean, this guy's 6-1. He's fought a good kid. He was his only loss on this guy's record. Let's see, man. I mean, 2-2. This chubby Mexican dude. It's just like, fuck me. Like, we're gonna pick the guy that doesn't have any real names on his record. You know, this is, I guess, a decent enough Russian name, but I don't know who the fuck this guy is, fighting out of a Chechnya. Man, it's just, I don't think that Santiago Luna comes in here and gets a debut win, even though he is Mexican. I mean, Quang was going to fight David Martinez. David Martinez is a lot higher level than Santiago Luna. I think Quang is going to be able to get this done. I think that he wins the exchanges. I think that he wins the grappling. I mean, Santiago Luna might come out here and have a great round one, and then I just see him slowing down and just, I don't know, man. This kid just is unproven to me. I watched this fight against Desmond Manabat. It's like, it's okay, but it's like, who the fuck is this guy? You know what I mean? It's like, you can look great against whoever the fuck Desmond Manabat is, but that doesn't mean that you're going to beat Quang in the UFC, who's fought guys like Chris Gutierrez, went to a decision, who's, you know, got finished in round 3 by Long Zhao, but Long Zhao's an absolute savage. He fucked up Gaston Bolaños, submitted him easily. You know, he's fought in the LFA. I just feel like Quang, just based on quality of competition and based on his experience, is going to be able to get the job done. Santiago Luna, this is going to be his coming out party. It's either going to be him showing like, okay, yeah, I'm UFC level and I'm a problem, and he's going to get the win over Quang, or he's just going to show, you know, he's 21 years old, just isn't ready for this level yet, and I'm just going to go for the Quang pick here to get it done. And we got Alexander Hernandez versus Diego Ferreira. This fight was also hard for me to call just because it's like, I can see Alexander Hernandez staying at range, landing shots, and just winning a decision, you know, picking Diego Ferreira apart because Alexander Hernandez is really fast relative to Diego Ferreira. You know, he's got good footwork. He's got good lateral movement. He's got decent enough pop on his shots. But man, it's just like looking at Diego Ferreira KOing Michael Johnson, who looked really, really good against Del Huber, and then seeing him TKO Mateusz Rąbecki, who just has proven to be like the toughest fucking bastard, one of them in the UFC, like one of the toughest bastards in the UFC, beating Miktabek Orbai, having that insane war with Chris Duncan. Also the insane war with Orbai, and then Diego Ferreira was able to knock him out. So it's just like, man, it's hard to pick against Diego Ferreira. He is 40 though. Man, fuck me. Yeah, this is another rough one, boys. You know, I'm having a hard time with this one. I'm going to go Alexander Hernandez by decision. I don't think that Diego Ferreira is going to be able to catch him. And I like with, you know, just a one big shot, knock him out. And, you know, at 155, Alexander Hernandez is strong. He's fast. He's not super drained like he is down at 155 or 145, excuse me. And yeah, like he's coming off a win over Austin Hubbard, a pressure grappler. Not really as good as Diego Ferreira. I feel like Kurt Holloway, another, you know, well-rounded-ish pressure grappler. And then he got that KO win over Chase Hooper, who just looked really green on the feet and looked like he didn't belong in there with Alexander Hernandez. Because, you know, Chase Hooper didn't really engage in the grappling. So it's like, yeah, Diego Ferreira is a different level than these guys. The Damon Jackson loss aged like shit. It's just like Alexander Hernandez is only like beating these old ass guys. He beat Jim Miller. He beat Chase Hooper, who's super young, the opposite of an old guy, but he's just green as fuck. Man. Diego Ferreira is kind of like on a different level of the guys that he's been fighting, but he's also 40, turning 41. This one's fucking rough, bro. I'm going to go Alexander Hernandez by decision, but then it's just like seeing Diego Ferreira knocking out Michael Johnson like that and TKOing Rąbecki. That's hard to look past, but I like Alexander Hernandez's skill set. I feel like he is good. He does have good cardio. He is well-rounded. I feel like he should be able to stop the takedowns and stay safe enough on the feet and land shots, and he's faster than Diego Ferreira, so I think that he's going to be able to get this done. But yeah, there's always that fucking crazy factor of Diego Ferreira. So bet wisely. All right, moving right along to Kelvin Gastelum versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Man, how committed is Kelvin Gastelum to this whole fighting thing at this point? You know, he's always missing weight. He's always eating fucking tacos. He's always just smoking weed. And Dustin Stoltzfus, you know, this is a really, really big fight for him, a really big opportunity for him. It's just like Kelvin has the talent. Dustin Stoltzfus probably definitely at this point in their careers has the work ethic. He's probably grinding harder in the gym than Kelvin is. Man, Kelvin didn't look too great in his last fight. This is a rough one. I'm thinking we're going to go Dustin Stoltzfus. I think he's going to take it by decision. I really think that he's going to be able to get takedowns. You know, I don't think that he just engages in a brawl with Gastelum on the feet. And I think that he can stay long. I think that he can, you know, just wrestle Kelvin Gastelum. You know, Kelvin Gastelum, yes, he has the better boxing and he does have good wrestling, but he's just undersized in this matchup. Dustin Stoltzfus is a big dude. He had a damn good fight with Nursultan Rusaboyev, who is good. He TKO'd Marc-Andre Barriault in like a crazy ass exchange where Barriault got really reckless, started swinging like a madman, and Dustin was able to catch him. He got KO'd by Bruno Ferreira, but you know, Bruno Ferreira is very dangerous. He's a big, strong, fucking just monstrous dude. Subbed up Punahele Soriano, got front kicked in the face by Abus Nurmagomedov, finished in like 19 seconds. That's when, you know, Abus had his coming out party and everybody like, oh my God, Abus is a monster. You know, it was the Dustin Stoltzfus fight that he was able to come out in. Yeah, man, it's just fuck. Stoltzfus, I feel like he's more committed. He's more dialed in. Kelvin Gastelum might be able to land the cleaner, better shots and keep it on the feet and, you know, win a decision. But I'm going to go Stoltzfus. Kelvin Gastelum is just hard to depend on at this point in their careers. So I'm going to go with Dustin Stoltzfus to get this done by decision. I think that he's going to be able to take Kelvin Gastelum down, control him, attack submissions, and he's just going to be the hungrier of the two. Like, you know, wanting to succeed wise. Because, you know, Kelvin is definitely the hungrier of the two. I'll tell you that, this fat fucking bastard. But, you know, we're going to go Dustin Stoltzfus to get this done. I think that he wants it more than Kelvin at this point. So Jared Gordon versus Rafa Garcia. We're going to go Jared Gordon. Rafa Garcia is good. He's tough. He's got decent wrestling. He's got heavy hands. He's not like a technical striker, but, you know, he's powerful. Jared Gordon, I feel like he's just kind of better everywhere, even though he is the 37-year-old. But it's like, you know, he knocked the fuck out of Thiago Moises last time. He's been looking good in his fights. Arguably got that win against Paddy Pimblett. You know, he's landing that left hook all night long. You know, I just feel like Jared Gordon should be able to keep it on the feet. He should be the more technical guy. If he wants to get takedowns, I think that he could. But if he wants to keep it on the feet, I think that he can stop Rafa Garcia from, you know, taking him down. You know, Jared Gordon's tough as fuck. He's a dog. I think that he can be able to get Rafa Garcia. I don't know if he can get him out of there, but just win a dominant decision where it's clear that Jared Gordon is the winner of each round. And, you know, I just see him landing the better shots. I see him being the more technically sound fighter. And I think that he gets it done over Rafa Garcia. Yeah, I mean, I just see his boxing being too much. I see his anti-wrestling being too much. And, you know, Rafa just, you know, he's tough, but he's kind of sloppy. So I think Jared gets it done. Now we're going up with David Martinez versus Rob Font. I'm going to go Rob Font, man. I am going Rob Font. David Martinez is really good. And this could be the fight where he shows us that, yes, he's like a top guy, but he's coming in on short notice. He hasn't really fought anybody anywhere close to Rob Font's level. And I just feel like Rob Font, you know, David Martinez is really fast with the lateral movement. He's going to look good in round one. But then when it comes to round 2 and 3 and Rob Font is just constantly pressuring him and, you know, he's winning the boxing exchanges because, you know, David Martinez is going to blitz in. Rob Font's going to probably, you know, get out of the way. He's got really good boxing. And he's probably going to counter well. David Martinez might fucking land some bullshit, get him out of there in round 1, but I just don't see it. I think that Rob Font is going to be technically sound enough on the feet, you know, defensively. I mean, he does get rocked in these fights. That's against Cheeto. That's against Jose Aldo. You know, it's the very best of the division. David Martinez is going to have to prove himself that he is the best of the best, before I'm going to go ahead and just pick him over Rob Font. I do like David Martinez's skill set. Maybe if he was coming in on a full camp, I'd be more willing to pick him. Or maybe if he was able to get, another win or two in the UFC, I'd be willing to pick him just to see how he's looking. But, a win over Xavier Franklin on the Contender Series, who, it was a competitive fight, and then a win over Simon Oliveira in the UFC. It's just, it's not enough for me to pick him over Rob Font, who's proven that he's, a mainstay in the bantamweight division. He's not top 15 right now, but he was at one point. I'm pretty sure he was even top 5. So I think Rob Font is going to be clean enough, technical enough on the feet to, in these boxing exchanges, make David Martinez pay and just land on him enough throughout the fight, especially in rounds 2 and 3. David Martinez, like I said, he might have a really good round 1. His best bet is to get Rob Font out of there in round 1. And if he's not, I feel like Rob Font is going to be able to pour on the pressure and, make him miss and make him pay. But we'll see. We'll see if David Martinez is special. We'll see if he's one of the top guys in the division, or at least in the future. This could be a fight where David Martinez does impress, but I don't think that he wins it. But we'll see. I think David Martinez is a great fighter. I do think so. If he was coming in, like I said, with a little bit more experience and on a full camp, I could potentially pick him. But with the circumstances what they are, I'm going to go ahead and pick Rob Font. Moving right along, we got Jean Silva versus Diego Lopes. Oops, I minimized my screen. There we go. We did see the Fighting Nerds lose in Paris. We saw Rufy get absolutely fraud checked by BSD. And we saw Kyle Bahalio, try to have a technical kickboxing match with Nasruddin Imavov, not really try to employ the grappling as much as he should have to try to get the win in that fight. But John Silva, man, it's hard to pick against him. Before that happened in Paris, I was very bullish on John Silva. I was like, John Silva's very slick. He has great head movement. He has great vision. I think that he's going to be able to counter Diego Lopes well. And I still think that, but it's just I'm less confident in that now, just based on what we saw in Paris. But I don't think that's going to have any effect. I mean, Diego Lopes might get the rub from Volkanovski. He might come into this fight looking better than he did against Volk. But, Diego Lopes doesn't have great head movement. He doesn't move his head a lot. He does get hit a lot. And, I think that John Silva, if he doesn't just completely fall off a cliff in rounds 4 and 5, if the fight does last that long, his vision, man, his head movement, his counters, his timing is really, really, really fucking good. So John Silva, I feel like he's a special fighter. Everybody said that about Mauricio Rufy, but John Silva is just like a different kind of dog than Rufy. You know what I mean? He's not just going to wilt under pressure. I feel like he's shown it in his Drew Dober fight that he's willing to, fight off the back foot, land big shots. He lands good spinning back elbows, good check hooks, flying knees. He's a very dangerous striker. He's a very dangerous fighter. Diego Lopes is a very dangerous fighter in his own right, but he just lacks the kind of finesse that John Silva does. And I don't think that John Silva's little fucking antics are going to play too much of a factor into this fight. I feel like Diego Lopes is the kind of guy to just ignore that shit and be like, all right, quit trying to fucking high five me. Every time you try to high five me, I'm going to try to knock you out. So I don't think that that's going to be playing too much of a factor in this fight. The head games that John Silva likes to play, because all that shit like the high five, oh yeah, you're my friend. That's just trying to lull you into a false sense of security so that he can just knock you the fuck out. Like he's just playing games. He's just trying to fuck with your head when he's doing all that stuff. It's very annoying to watch, but it's like when you're fighting somebody like that, not that I would know, but when you're fighting somebody like that, it's frustrating. It's distracting. It's like it gets you out of your game. It's like, okay, this dude is fucking trying to high five me. It's like you lose sight that, okay, I need to knock this dude out for half a second. I think that Diego Lopes is going to be prepared for that. He's going to be okay, this guy's going to be coming out here doing a bunch of bullshit, trying to distract me, and I just need to stay focused on knocking this dude's head off. So it's going to be a tough fight. John Silva's going to show if he's elite or if he's not. This could potentially be another fraud check moment where he gets knocked the fuck out by Diego Lopes, who's very fast, very powerful, very explosive, but he is a bit sloppy, not super sloppy. You know, I'm not saying that he's out there just swinging haymakers nonstop, but, you know, he's not like the crisp, like slickster technician kind of guy. You know, like a Volkanovski or a John Silva or like a, you know, Topuria type. But yeah, man, I think that John Silva is a special fighter. I think that he has really, really, really good head movement, really good vision, really good counters, and I think that he can make Diego Lopes miss, and I think that he can make him pay. Is he going to be able to knock out Diego Lopes, who's shown that he has a fucking granite chin? I don't know. Maybe potentially a doctor stoppage, like what happened with Drew Dober. He cuts him up nasty, and then they just have to stop the fight. You know, John Silva's got great weapons, you know, great knees, elbows, punches, kicks, the art of the 8 limbs. He's got great Muay Thai. So I think that he's going to be able to get it done here. I haven't done my picks yet on the card. I'm going to probably just go ahead and do these right after I wrap this up here. But that should be it. Rapid fire. Just going to run through my picks for you guys one more time. That's going to be Donchenko, Pereira, Costa, Reese, Gurule, Suarez, Silva, Todorović, Quang, Hernandez, Stoltzfus, Gordon, Font, and Silva. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you're still here, I really appreciate you. You make all this shit possible, me doing these videos. You're my motivation, as corny as that is. But yeah, leave a like, leave a comment. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Let me know what you think about the card. Let me know what you're picking. Let me know what your parlays are. Let me know what your lock is, all that shit. Talk to me in the comments. I will answer you, and we can discuss things further. I'm probably going to stream either today. Today's September 10th, either today or tomorrow, the 9/11 stream. So, yeah, guys, that was it. I appreciate everybody for watching, and smash like, all that good stuff. Peace out.